Good afternoon. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tembi Kwala, and I am so glad to have you back. If it's your first time, welcome. I hope this channel is going to edify you and you're going to find value in the content that I put in this channel. So I wanted to start a series, if I would like to call it that. I wanted to start a series where I speak about a father wound or fatherless daughters, whichever way you would look at it. This topic is very close to my heart. It is something that when it's spoken of, I feel really emotional. We had a teaching around, honoring fathers, and what came up was, the discussion around, the importance of a father in a home, the foundation that he brings, the authoritative voice that a father has even just by being there, and how the absence of a father in a home has it has impact on the children. But what I wanted to speak about today was the impact that it has in a little girl. There's stats on the net that they said 1 in 3 girls in South Africa grows up without a father, and that that's a tremendous results if you look at it. And because I grew up in a single parent and I'm raising my children by myself now, and most people who grow up in single parent, because of not having that foundation and what uh, you know that relation between a man and a woman looks like, it can have an impact in when we meet our partners in the future, when we become woman and we become man, because we did not have the model of what a father is and what a father does in a home. So we have no way of expecting. We don't know what we look for, and we end up making a whole lot of mistakes. I mean, the stats even say that most repeat offenders in jail, if you trace back in their foundation, you will find that there's no father in that home. There's a lack of father figure amongst the home, and it's a tremendous thing that is happening in our society, because these boys, they go on to father become teenage fathers who don't know also what they're doing, and they hurt these little girls also who grow up without a father. Because if a girl did not grow up without a father, there are certain things that they are missing, because it is a father who grooms a little girl for womanhood, and builds up an expectation of what a girl is supposed to be expecting from a worthy man, because then they will fall trap of men who are using them, misusing them, disrespecting them, and dishonoring them, and it hurts these little girls, and because they did not have that foundation and they don't know what they look for. So the definition that I got was that I mean fatherless daughters, they are a female who grew up without a father, whether the father was unattached or was absent. And also for women who go on to be abused by their fathers, it leaves a wound in these girls. So there are symptoms that these little girls have. I will go on to speak about the archetypes of what form does these girls who grow up with an unattached or unavailable father in their lives it takes. The archetypes that they take in their lives, their worldview, their psychology, or their philosophy in life, when how they try to maneuver this life when this foundation has not been there. So one of the things that came up was the symptoms of of girls who grow up without a father, which is anger and rage. That anger, which is misplaced, because you have that seated anger and rage inside of you that, you know, it's supposed to be directed to your father, but he's not there. So you direct it to your children, you direct it to your partner, which in turn you scare him away, and you run him away, because there's that little girl who was not taken care of, and she's just screaming for the attention. And so another, you know, symptom was the feeling of abandonment. I mean, I know very well about that, and the feeling of abandonment and the feeling of rejection and isolation, because a kid will ask themselves, you know, that, you know, what did I do that my father didn't stay? What did I do that my father was unavailable and he didn't affirm me? And because the difference between a woman and a child, a woman will articulate their feelings, will take time to explain what they feel. But a little child, I mean, you think about a 2-year-old, they throw tantrums. So when there's a certain emotional stability that is not developed in the heart or in the soul of a woman when the father is not there, so it shows up, you know, when they are feeling abandoned and they are feeling isolated, and also they become overdriven and over, you know, they take on this macho, you know, climbing the ladder and wanting to get results, you know, and wanting titles, so that it's kind of something like, maybe, you know, I should make a name for myself, because we are looking for validation, because the father was not there to validate you. And trust issues in relationship, and low self-esteem and poor self-image, because the father, yes, wasn't there, I mean, even to validate you and to tell you that, you know, you are worthy. I mean, he wasn't there, he didn't show you by his action. By being there, he left. So a little girl will grow up having these complex symptoms that are showing up, because the role of a father wasn't there to ground and to validate. And I know that, you know, people who grew up with fathers, they don't think that, they take this lightly. I remember I said to someone I knew, you know, sometime, that when I had this aha moment that, man, the absence of my father really messed me up. And they said, but your father, but your brothers had, they also didn't have your father and they turned out okay. And I felt so, you know, I really felt so terrible about myself, because what I needed from my father is not the same thing that my brother needed. And what I needed from my father is not what the next girl may have needed. Because another, you know, a woman said to me that she also didn't grow up with a father, and but we don't need the same thing from our parents. My experience with my mother is different. My experience with my father, my experience with my mother is different than an experience that another girl may have with her mother. And it is my pain, the fact that it affected me not having a father. And I don't expect, you know, I stopped expecting people to understand, because I wanted people to validate me. And I also saw that that also came from not being validated as a child, you know, from my father, that I kind of kept seeking this thing, and in this external validation from people, from my title, and getting that title and getting that title, and working very hard with with a hope and expectation that something external can validate the void that is inside of me. But nothing could have done that. There is nothing that can can close the gap that my father um, left inside of my heart. There's a poem that says that the absence of a father leaves a void or a space in a shape of a father, and the girl child grows up and tries different things to fill that void of a father, but she cannot feel it, because it's not something that you can feel with studying hard and or with partying hard, changing partners, and doing drugs. It's not a void that can be closed off by pursuing these certain things. So So yeah, you know, it takes different turns. So there's something that I got from TD Jakes, where he said there are 7 things that that a girl child needs to hear from her father, and these things are important because, I mean, they're important because they build that foundation that I spoke of. And you know, like I said, when I'm done with this, I mean, I'll do another video where I go through the archetypes and the form that, you know, how these little girls are shaped by the absence of their father. So the father has a unique voice in a child's life that, I mean, I see even with the father of my kids, when he says certain things to them. I mean, I could have been saying that thing for the whole week, but because he came and he said it, that Daddy said that, like, wow, I mean, that's what I've been saying, but it has a different tone and a different weight when it comes from a man. So a father has a unique voice in a life of a child. So these are the things that girl child expect from their father, you know, from their father. You know, they learn the sense of self respect, and that they are enough. And the father does that by, you know, by playing, by showing up, by conversing with them, by listening to them, that the girl will feel that, I have value, you know, I matter, somebody wants to hear what I have to say. And things like she's beautiful, compliment that her hair is beautiful, her dress is beautiful, that she does not have to look that externally or from someone else who has ulterior motives. That if it comes from a non-threatening relationship that she has with a male, when she goes out into the world and people are complimenting her because of ulterior motives, she can pick that up because she's used to that. And also, you know, she learns how to demand honor and respect because she gets that from her father. And another thing that happens is she learns how a man is supposed to treat a woman by looking at how her father treats her mother. So she knows from how she looks at her father and how he relates with her mother what to expect. So she'll know what to expect from a man. That it's okay to say no, and you know, to a guy, you know, that you can say no, not be scared to disappoint somebody and say no. That, you know, these girls will end up, you know, saying, doing things even if they not want to, just because, you know, they want somebody to love. And, you know, tell her that she's worthy and that she can achieve things. I mean, girls who are edified by their father, affirmed by the father, they go out to, you know, to be really great in things that they do in sports, you know, even in their business. You know, they are secure. They don't, even when they are pursuing their, you know, their careers and all these things, they're not doing it out of a competition with men. They're not doing it out of you know, trying to get validation. You know, they're going it in a competitive, healthy way, you know, because they have no need to, you know, to seek validation, and thinking that, you know, their value comes from what they have, what they were, and so forth. And also, one thing that is very important in a child's life, and in a woman specifically, is protection and its stability. And when a girl knows that her father is there, it takes care of that sense within her that she, you know, she's secure. You know, she knows that she can count on her father. Her father is always there. Her father, you know, she can speak to him. So when she gets into relationships, she doesn't have things like trust issues. And also, the most important thing that I spoke about was also, you know, the words that say that I love you. Girls need to hear those words from the father first. If it's not, you know, if girls don't receive those things from a father, they seek for it in other places and from different people who have different, you know, motives. So these are the important things that, you know, definition of a fatherless daughter, and the symptoms, you know, that it has when the father is absent, and also the things that little girls need to hear. And these are the things that provide that foundation, that when a girl child goes out to be a woman, she has this as a foundation in her life, that she's not taken by anything and just any, just anything that somebody says to sweep them off their feet. So it's these, relations and things that a father does that shows her love, and it gives her a sense of worth and self-esteem and self-image, and a positive self-image, and that, and it also help them socially and also in their communication skills, because this is what we yearn for. This is the role that no matter how great a mother is, they can never play this role. They can try, but a mother has a role in a child's life, but a father has a role in a child's life. And this what breaks my heart, gay, because we if we are not aware of these certain things, we keep making the same mistakes, and we keep doing the same things. But when we know, even, I mean, I can't go back now and have a father, but having that knowing and that knowledge, even when I'm with somebody, I kind of know my triggers. I know how I act, because and I know how I act. I know how I expect certain things to be, and where does it come from? Because we all need self-awareness, and self-awareness comes from education, and going out there and learning things that you do not know, because it is when we do not know and we are not educated that we fail in those areas. And so I wanted to just come in and just lay a foundation of this thing around fatherless daughters and the effects that it has in a child's life, and the what the expectation of a child from her father. So I'll come back and do archetypes, the makings, and how does the effects or the absence of a father in a girl's life does to a child, and the forms that it takes, because it takes different forms. And I hope that you can identify with some of these things, and if you know somebody who can benefit from this teaching, or from this talk, or from this conversation, as I call it, then you can send her this link and you can share it, and we can get the conversation going. I hope this is going to help somebody, because it really helped me, and it helped me to dig deep. I will not be able to say everything, but I hope that I will be able to touch on so many things that it will really spark an interest, but also educate, and also get the interest going for you to go and do your own research and understanding. So I'll see you on my next video, and thank you for staying until the end of this video. I'll see you next. Take care.